RiverBender.com. Welcome back to our daily show on this Tuesday morning, the 6th day of May, Duke Bakery. It's going to be a busy weekend.
We got Mother's Day weekend coming up. We got graduation season, so we got a lot going on.
Well, it's wild, too, because it really just, this year, especially with Easter being pushed back, it seemed like all those big holidays kind of just come right back after another, you know?
They do, and there's all kinds of new holidays, you know? You got Teacher Appreciation Week, and you got Nurse Appreciation Week, so all those things that you just kind of don't think about on a day-to-day basis, it all gets combined together and creates a busy week for us.
Is Teacher Appreciation Week pretty busy for you guys too?
Yeah,
wow.
That's a big one. The Nurse Appreciation Week's another big one. You know, so those are all scattered out throughout the course of the year. You got, First Responder Appreciation Weeks, and it's all these holidays that, in my opinion, didn't really exist 10, 15, 20 years ago.
Right.
You know, so now we got a holiday about every week anymore.
Well, and honestly, it seems like, too, you're on top of being, of course, a staple in the community, you could be a new social media guru consultant, you know? I mean, you guys...
we've got some really good staff behind us that does a really good job staying on top of the Facebook and the Instagram and all that kind of stuff.
I'm telling you, though, every time my mom calls me right away, or I get tagged in at least 2 or 3 Duke Bakery posts.
That's what I like to hear. It's working then. It's working.
Well, and it seems like you guys have really been able to adapt and really stay with, you know, all the trends and the times, too.
You know, businesses constantly evolve and change. The business that we're running today is not the business that we were running 25 years ago when I first came into it.
Right.
And that's just the nature of the beast. And I think that's what you have to do to kind of stay up with current trends. Even our product line is a lot different now than what it was 25 years ago.
Well, and too, you know, just being on the small business side of things, you know, with like, you know, the POS systems and I'm sure especially, you know, like debit card transactions and all of that,
Absolutely.
You know, those can be kind of tough, I'm sure, especially for, you know, being a bakery too.
Oh, without a doubt, you know, and that stuff, you know, thankfully we've got one of our team members that's been with us about 20 years now. She's a little bit more with it when it comes to the technology than I am. I think my age is starting to show just a little bit. The POS systems, you know, it makes it so nice because all the reports are right there. You can see exactly what you're selling. But on the back end of those, I'm thankful that I got her because I'm lost.
Right. No, and that's really honestly kind of how I am with Mike upstairs. If I didn't have Mike, I don't know how I'd be doing the show.
Man, we work with Mike. So I call Kelly, which does a lot of our website stuff and that, you know, through you guys. I think her and Mike are probably about best friends right now because I call Kelly my IT person and Kelly calls Mike her IT person. So
that's awesome, man. Well, and it seems like it really is. You guys have become just such, you know, that staple, obviously, for the decades and the generations that have known you. But the way you collaborate with the other businesses and organizations, it's really cool to see just from, you know, a community perspective also.
Yeah, well, I think that it goes a long way in the community. When you can work together, you know, we did a little collaboration on April Fool's Day with the Cookie Factory, where Cookie Factory employees wore Duke Bakery shirts, Duke Bakery employees wore Cookie Factory shirts, and, you know, it's fun. And if we all just kind of work together, I think we all will move ahead a lot quicker.
Well, and, you know, take me through your, you know, 20, 25 years of being, you know, over there. You know, how have you kind of grown into the role and learned along the way?
Oh, man, I tell you what. I mean, you know, going back when I first came on at the bakery, I actually went to college for law enforcement and kind of got into the bakery on a whim because we had a baker that had worked there for 47 years, passed away unexpectedly. And I just kind of started helping out. It was my in-laws' bakery. And, you know, then I came on full time in January of 2000. So it was just a different world then. Luckily, you know, my father-in-law was very patient with me and taught me a lot through the years. And but the business that we're running today is so different than the business that we were running 25 years ago, just for the fact of trends, the technology, you know, we're much larger now than we were then as far as staff size. So there's a lot more management now of just people. The two stores were about 50 employees, where I think at that time we were about 15.
Right.
So, it's just a lot different. You're trying to play that mix of a businessman and HR and baker and maintenance man and delivery driver. It's all combined into one.
Well, and that's, I think, so interesting too, because for multiple people in the public, it's not us thinking about your employee size, because for us, I think of it, just with the people in the store, just because we just go as family,
Right.
And that's what and so whenever you're managing 50 people, though, what are some of the challenges that come into that, man? Because I can only imagine, especially with deliveries, you're going to multiple locations because you guys deliver all over the place. Is that one of the hardest things to manage?
Logistics is definitely a challenge. It's a challenge finding good people that are willing to work a night shift.
Gotcha.
And that is probably the most challenging positions to fill, are those night shift positions. There's a lot of personality, and that's probably the most difficult thing to manage as far as people. But at the same time, we are so fortunate with the staff that we have, because so many of them have been around a long time now. Two of our managers that have been with us for a long time. One just celebrated her 20th year with us. The other one celebrated 18 years with us. And I kind of feel like those two especially, I kind of grew up with them, because when they came in, I'd only been at the bakery, 5-6 years at that point. Mm-hmm. I was still pretty green and learning. So I kind of feel like we all kind of came up the ropes together. So you definitely have that family vibe. We've watched their kids grow up, and they've watched my kids grow up. So, and then we've got some really good employees. I got a really good baker that's been with me about 5 or 6 years now. And,
wow.
She had a lot of experience when she came on board with us, and she's been a huge asset.
Well, and honestly, as a testament, though, when you have people working for 20, plus years or close to it, and then even 5, 6, 7 years, that's really impressive, especially in today's climate with employment.
Right. Well, without a doubt, they'll joke around and say that, it's like a Stockholm syndrome type thing, that they just can't leave. But I think we do. We have a good time. I think we enjoy each other as much as we may get on one another's nerves at times.
Well, and it's really cool too that you guys can say that you've been a part of so many people's childhoods in so many different ways, whether it's going into the store with your parents or grandparents, sure, or even just working there during the summer, or however that, works out. It really does seem like you guys have been able to touch so many different lives.
And it's neat hearing the stories, because you'll hear people come in that are, in their 60s, and they'll talk about my wife's grandfather that used to give them donut holes when they were a kid, and that goes back into the 50s when they were little kids, and then you just have that generational where now you've got third and fourth generation families that are coming in. We've had several group of employees that are third generation, where we had grandma that worked there, mom that worked there, and now their kids.
Wow!
So it's kind of neat to see that.
When have you gotten to the point where you're starting to feel like you're getting to be the older generation yet? Whenever customers are walking in, are you at that point?
I'm feeling like I'm starting to get to be the older one.
That's
on
what I'm
block.
saying.
Yeah, without a doubt. And just seeing your kids, go off to college makes you feel old, but I think the thing that really makes me feel old is like in the baking community here in the St. Louis area. At one time, there was over 400 independent retail bakeries in the St. Louis market.
Really?
Yeah, and now there's less than 20 to 30.
Wow.
So it's a dwindling market, and when I came on board, I was the young guy, and there was guys that I looked up to that kind of mentored me that I could reach out to if I had a question, and these guys are all retiring. Or, they're passing away, and now all of a sudden I look around and I'm that old guy. I'm that guy that the other bakers are calling to ask, hey, what do you do when this happens? Or have you ever had this issue before? And so, yeah, I'm definitely getting to be the old guy on the block, I guess.
To me, it's just seeing the different, generations, especially like 20 years is what I'm thinking is, man, if someone was like, 15 or 16 coming in there, they have a kid. Well, all of a sudden, especially 20 years, who knows? They could have a grandchild by then.
Well, and that's really hit home. Like at our Granite City store, we opened up Granite City in 2006.
Was it that long ago?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So 19 years ago. And now, I remember when we opened up there, seeing these kids come in from the high school and the middle school that's right across the street. Now they're coming in and they're bringing their kids, and their kids are in the high school or middle school. And it's like, how have we been open that long, that we're seeing this generational thing happen here?
Well, you hit on something really, I mean, when you go from 400 to 30, I mean, that's not just, people having bad luck. That's a nasty trend.
It is.
What do you kind of attribute your guys' longevity to?
Loyal customers, number one.
Yeah.
And just to be able to operate that business in this town on the same street corner for 74 years is a testament not to us, it's a testament to the community.
Right.
Because they're the ones that have stood behind us. So I think it all lies in the customers and the community more than it does in anything that we have done.
100%. You have a moment to stick around?
Yeah, absolutely.
We got to pay a quick bill. We'll come back with more Daily Show on this Tuesday morning. RiverBender.com, Roku TV, more next.
Has free checking become a thing of the past? Not if Liberty has anything to say about it. With 3 free personal checking options and even a free business checking account, free is alive and well at Liberty Bank, the local bank that gives you free checking choices and more cashing in your pocket. Bank locally, bank Liberty. For more information, visit www.bankliberty.com.
Macias Insurance Agency, providing quality products with extremely competitive prices. As an independent provider, we source multiple companies to offer the best rates possible, covering auto, home, business, and life insurance. Our goal is to provide quality service that meets and exceeds customer expectations. You can rest easy knowing the Macias team is working round the clock to ensure that both you and the most important parts of your life are covered. Our qualified professionals make the insurance process easy so you can live carefree and focus on what matters most. Visit MaciasInsuranceAgency.com today to find out what our team can do for you.
No matter the season, Play It Again Sports in Edwardsville has the gear the athletes need to get in the game. Whether you're shopping for the newest sports equipment or saving money on quality used gear, Play It Again Sports carries what you need to maximize performance to get the most out of every swing, kick, stroke, or shot. We'll even buy your used goods, paying cash on the spot. We carry all the gear for all the sports all year long. We're your hometown sporting goods store. Play It Again Sports, conveniently located at 4 Club Center Court in Edwardsville.
You're listening to Our Daily Show with CJ Nasello on RiverBender.com.
Hey, that's why they call me bad company, and I can deny.
Welcome back, Daily Show on a Tuesday morning. Allergies, sinuses, they ain't getting me down, Ben.
I can hear you sniffling.
We're talking all thing Duke Bakery, and that's one thing we were talking about during the break that I think we can talk about. It's not Duke's.
Correct. The technical name, if you look at the corporate documents that are filed within the state of Illinois, it's Duke Bakery. But over the years, Duke's has kind of become the I guess, the call sign.
Yeah.
And we've embraced it. And so, it's funny because we never put Dukes on any, like, the advertising or anything. But now we've kind of embraced that term a little bit, and we'll throw the apostrophe S on there for, certain things.
You got to listen to the people.
That's right. That's right. If they want to change the name, let them change the name.
Your merchandise is pretty good too.
Thank you.
I'm liking it all, man.
Awesome.
Well, and now what's your most highly sought after donut?
Glazed.
Really? Still?
Yeah, 10 to 1.
No kidding.
10 to 1. Maybe more than that even. Yeah.
No kidding.
Yeah, glazed is definitely the staple.
Well, and has your recipe ever changed or has always remained constant?
The only time that we really ever saw a change was about probably 6 or 7 years ago. There was a trans fat ban that came. That was a federal regulation where they changed all the shortenings across the board. So all of the products, pretty much anything that you make had some sort of change there. And some were affected minor. Mm-hmm. And some were pretty major effects that we had to really reformulate some of the recipes.
No kidding.
Yeah, it was a really tough, probably 12-month period of time where we had to take some things out of production for a while until we could really figure it out and work with suppliers and distributors and manufacturers to try to figure out what shortenings might work, what adjustments we can make to offset things. But that's pretty much the only change that has ever happened, and that was not a change on our part that we wanted. It actually made our life extremely difficult.
Well, and especially too, you aren't a newer bakery, so people have come to know exactly what those things taste
absolutely.
like.
Absolutely. So yeah, it's tough when and we had people notice, in certain things, and there's some things that have changed, and I don't want to say if it's changed for the better or for the worse. It's just a little different, and unfortunately, it'll just never quite be the same again.
It's so fascinating, though. I didn't realize that's something you have to take into account. Though.
Yeah, you're kind of at the liberty sometimes of whether it's manufacturers or federal regulations or what guidelines are put forth by other institutions that change your business.
Do you have any old school methods that you still carry over to the new? I'm sure you have new equipment and everything, but
most of the equipment has been updated at this point. We're still running several pieces of equipment from the 60s.
No kidding.
Yeah, our big oven that we do like bread and buns in. Mm-hmm. That oven, that'll bake 140 loaves of bread at one time. It'll bake 105 pies at one time. It's our big one. That oven was put in 1966. We had it rebuilt during COVID, and we had to have it rebuilt by a company out of Chicago where they came down and they worked through the night, tore the oven down, rebuilt it, all new bushings and bearings, and put it all back together. But, when you walk through the back of that bakery, not a whole lot has changed since probably the 60s. It is a little bigger now. We have put on some additions, and it's the actual production area is probably close to doubled in size in the last 15 to 20 years. Mm-hmm. But the main part of the production area in the back is pretty close to the same as it was 50 years ago.
Man, that's wild. See, I would have expected you to say, "Oh no, we got it all new."
No,
I like it.
No,
I like it a lot.
A lot of that stuff, a lot of that equipment is so expensive that
I can imagine,
if you can rebuild it, it's cheaper to pay the company to come down from Chicago and rebuild it than it is to buy a new one.
That's so cool though to know their employees have a chance to, especially like you said, if their grandparents work there, that they're working with the same stuff. That's cool.
Stuff. Yeah.
What's your favorite part about being at the bakery? If it is one of those kind of softball questions, but I find it so fascinating too.
People, by far.
Really?
People, yeah. I can talk with the best of them, buddy. I like talking to the customers, the employees. I like the people.
That's awesome.
Not saying that I don't love the job and love working in production or that, but the people is top for me. What
are some of the older menu items? Because I know you were talking about that earlier, just going back to that you guys have kind of transitioned away from along the way.
Well, glazed donuts that we just talked about, that's one of the big staples. Vienna bread will never go away. The Vienna bread is one of our staple items. You can get that at a lot of restaurants here in town, serve our Vienna bread on their menu. But we're seeing trends change to smaller, more individual items now. Families used to be a whole lot bigger. Mm-hmm. You're selling less what we would call like a pastry stolen, which serves 8 to 12 people. Well, you don't have a whole lot of families that are 8 to 12 people anymore.
Right.
So we're seeing things downsize. We're seeing more individual brownies, fruit tarts.
Wow.
Things that are more individual servings.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Is there one item that you guys had like when you first started that you always think about bringing back, or you're like, man, I'm glad that we don't do that anymore?
Some of them are a mixture of both feelings. Chicago cheese slices is one item that I love. It used to be a staple item. We saw sales kind of fall off on it over the years. But it's one of those things now, we bring it back 3-4 times a year. When we bring it back, it's a huge hit. We sell out, and then we just let it go away for 4 or 5, 6 months, and then we'll bring it back. And it's a phenomenal item. It's a little thin cheesecake. We sell it in slices. It's got a sour cream topping on it. It's just a really good item. But it's one of those items, it's a pain to make.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful that we don't make it more than 3-4 times a year. But I'm also really excited when we make it because I'll eat a couple of those myself.
That's really cool, man.
Yeah.
What's the I guess most time-consuming day-to-day item that's on your guys' menu?
Donuts probably require the most time. And it's always funny because somebody will come in the afternoon and you'll be out of donuts and they'll be like, well, can't you just go back and make me one?
Yeah.
And it's like, well, you don't quite understand. You know, when we make a batch of donuts, we make them in a batch of 75 dozen at a time. And it takes about 3 hours from start to finish on one batch. So it's not a quick item. So the donuts are definitely the most time consuming, but it's probably because it's also the highest volume item that we make on a day-to-day basis.
When do you stop producing in the morning?
So it depends on what day of the week, of course. Donuts usually start between 1 and 2 a.m. and depending on the day of the week, they'll go till 9 a.m. on a busy day, something like that. And then we're done with donut production. But at the same time that we're doing donuts, we've got bread in the proof box or in the oven. We're topping Danish, and getting that stuff baked off. So it's kind of an overlap of all the items. You can't really just work on one item, start and finish, then move to the next. You got to overlap. Otherwise, we would never get out of there.
Well, and it just shows how efficient your kitchen has to be, though, because if you have one hiccup one day, I mean, that could lead to a big...
Absolutely it can. And I mean, it happens,
Did I
man.
just give you a flashback?
Oh,
there?
man, you'll be in the middle of something and, a mixer will go down or all of a sudden an oven stops firing and it's like, and now you've got 140 loaves of bread in the proof box ready to go in the oven and your oven just went down. I mean, that stuff has happened over the years. We've had power outages where all of a sudden the power goes out and you're in the middle of working and, you got all this stuff in the mix and it's like, okay, what can we save and what are we going to have to get rid of?
I didn't even think about that.
So, yeah.
Well, I wanted to ask you, during COVID, did you guys still do pretty well with like online order? Did you already have online ordering there?
So,
did you adapt
I don't
to
think
that?
we did not have online ordering at that time. We kind of transitioned during that time and started servicing out of the windows on the patio.
Right.
So we shut down the actual storefront, but we had walk-up service. We limited our menu a little bit. We didn't have a complete offering like we do if you were walking today.
I'm sure, yeah.
But I think during that time period, we might have done a little bit of like Uber Eats or, some of those delivery options. But our online ordering didn't really get going until about 2 years ago. So it would have been after COVID.
Interesting.
Would have definitely been nice to have at that time, though.
Well, and see, that's what I was going to ask you, because I remember just thinking while, just going back a couple of years, people were, it seemed like cakes and stuff were kind of a one of those things just to kind of thinking about your gift,
Yeah, absolutely. And during COVID, fortunately, it did not... It did not really negatively affect our business.
That's good. That's what I was curious about.
It was, I think it was one of those things, you were so limited to what you could do that people perceived the bakery as still being kind of that family outing. Hey, man, we can't go to the movies or we can't go to the store and walk around, but we can go to the bakery on Saturday morning and get donuts. Absolutely. Yeah, it was the one thing that they did not have to change their routine for.
And it seems like just going into the family side of things, your guys' relationship with Middletown is something that's never going to be replicated, I don't think. I mean, it's such a cool thing.
It's, I always say, especially at Christmas time.
For sure.
It's such a Norman Rockwell feeling.
For sure, man.
It's almost fairy tale feeling on Christmas Eve. We walked around on Christmas Eve this year, and we lived just up the street from the bakery. But walking down Henry Street with all the luminaries.
Oh, yeah, that's the coolest thing.
It's just so neat. It's like, what town do you see, what neighborhood do you see that does this? Where all the neighbors, it's a lot of effort on a lot of effort on a couple neighbors, especially because they organize the whole thing, but a lot of effort on a lot of the neighbors, because there's block captains that put all that out and set them all up, and it's just really cool, you know.
Yeah.
And I think Lucy Haskell's Playhouse there kind of keeps the Middletown neighborhood anchored. So
sure.
yeah, it's really just a cool neighborhood. And if there's people out there that haven't experienced that Christmas Eve on in Middletown on Henry Street, take a drive on Christmas Eve, bring the family out, because it is well worth seeing.
100%. Well, and on top of those relationships too, the North Alton Godfrey Business Council, which is the North Alton Godfrey Business Council Spotlight, I think I forgot to mention that earlier, is really a big advocate, of course, for these partnerships. And take me through your relationship with Zeke and the council.
Well, it's fairly a new relationship for the most part. Zeke and I have worked on some other projects here in the last few months, coming up into the election time and all. But I'm really impressed with Zeke and his passion for this community, for the Alton and Godfrey both. Just trying to bring the two together, unifying everyone, and all moving towards a common goal, which is to grow these areas, to grow the Alton Godfrey area, and to see businesses prosper.
100%.
So, I'm really, after really getting to know Zeke the last 6 months or so, I'm really impressed with him.
That's really cool. And before I let you go, I would be remiss to not mention Mike's AI system. He told me to mention that today. Your chatbot's pretty cool on the website.
It is very cool. Did Mike share any of the stories with you on the AI?
No.
So it's, we can get in the back end and we can read some of the conversations. And we had to have that AI reeled in just a bit
I'm
on
sure
a couple
you did,
conversations. Because it would, I think somebody had contacted us on the website and the AI was answering the question, and it was like a 20-minute long conversation between this lady and the AI bot. So yeah, it's a very cool and kind of eerie feeling when you see that a computer is answering some questions. But to make it clear, we do answer. If you go into our website and you go to the contact us form, we are answering that. Now, if you have a general question, you type it in that little box. AI might give you an answer on that.
That's what it's for.
But yes, we are not relying on AI to answer all of our questions at Duke Bakery.
There you go. Good. That's a good disclaimer. Man, it's great talking to you. And
Same here.
Do you have anything special coming down the pipeline for Mother's Day at Duke Bakery? Or?
Man, it's a big cookie and cake time of year.
Yeah.
So, go to our website, www.dukebakeryinc.com.
Oh, look at that.
And look at that, right? RiverBender does a great job helping us manage that.
I have a book of everything written down for me on purpose, Ben. I can't remember anything, let alone a website.
So yeah, between that and our Facebook page, you'll be able to see what we're promoting with Mother's Day coming up. We got graduation season that we're in the midst of too, and I guess the next thing that we're really pumped up working towards is our 75th anniversary, which will be next year.
That's really cool.
So,
do you guys have any early ideas?
Not yet. We're working on it. We're kind of in the midst of what we're going to do, but we do have some plans of some year-long celebrations next year.
That'd be really cool.
We celebrated the 50th in 2001, and I figure that this might be the last big monumental one that I'm able to really take part in, Yeah. I mean, when you start looking at your age and everything, who knows where we'll be in another 25 years, but I don't want to miss out on making the 75th one of the best celebrations possible.
Really cool. And, fill us in on it along the way. We'd love to be a part of the ride. And then hopefully next time you see me, my sinuses and allergies or whatever the hell is going on with me today is figured out,
Well, go take a Claritin and,
Pop a Claritin.
We'll see how you do.
We'll take a quick break. More Daily Show on this Tuesday morning comes back to you next on Roku and RiverBender.